Welcome to the Polish Your Mirror podcast. I'm your host, Selena Bournes, founder of the Ladies Circle of Success. Each week, we provide you with strategies, tips, and encouragement about pursuing your life's passions, embodying the confident version of yourself, and overcoming obstacles to living authentically so that you can attract success and be the boss in all areas of your life.
What's up with Nurse Jackie down there?
It's Dr. G. He on his lunch break.
So what, you line me up and then Doogie Howser down there amputates my leg or something?
We lost our house in the war. The only places available now have rents too high for a teacher's salary. We have to live in the car.
Me and your trainer here, we was in the Olympics together. You remember Diane from track and field, right?
You was gonna bring that up. You remember when I used to stop you in the second round of sparring, right? You peed yourself?
Oh, yeah.
That left hook?
Now you're pushing it too far. Yeah, you're pushing it too far now. Yeah, come along.
Hey, don't worry. He's just a friend.
Yo, where the money at?
I brought 500.
Bitch, I said $5 grand. You think you slick?
Did you just say hands up N-word?
Yeah, I did.
Why? I mean, not the hands up part, but the N-word thing.
Man, I'm trying to improve my language. N-word's a divisive word. Read yourself some Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Polish Your Mirror podcast. I'm your host, Selena Bournes, your mindset strategist and founder of the Ladies Circle of Success. Now, today I am super excited because I am welcoming Kedrick Brown. Kedrick is a Houston-made and Littlerock raised actor making waves in Hollywood. You may have seen him in some of my favorite hit television shows like New Amsterdam, Black Lightning, and Oprah Winfrey's drama series Greenleaf, just to name a few, right? Hello, Kedrick. Thank you so much for taking time to hang out. Thank you so much for taking time to hang out on the Polish Your Mirror podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, gorgeous. How are you doing? How was life with you?
I'm doing awesome, doing great.
COVID days, we got to take the time out to genuinely ask, how are you? How are you doing? You know, because things have changed so much, you know, and affected us in so many different ways. So genuinely, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, We have our 2-year-old granddaughter that we've been able to thankfully spend time with since COVID, because she was born in November of 2020, and she's been coming over to our house like pretty much every day since she was 3 months old. So we've been having a lot of
2 years old.
2 years old. Mm-hmm.
Oh, babe, I know that struggle. That 2 years. She turned it up.
Oh, all the time.
Okay, well, I know that she's on par. She's on par.
All the time.
She's right on par.
All right. Now, I mentioned all those great television shows that you were in, but in 2020, I saw you here in Houston at the George Theater playing the lead role in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Now, that was my first time seeing any productions in that theater, and my husband and I were blown away. So when we met you after the play, the one thing I remember thinking was how humble and grounded you are. So I want to know, what type of adversity have you had to overcome while pursuing your dream of acting?
You know, I think the difficulty about choosing a career like being a professional film and television actor is, you know, you're going to have your doubters, you know, just like any other career. But the likelihood of you making it to a certain level, you know, or being on, you know, a number of, you know, hit #1 TV shows or films, the chances are astronomical, right? It's about the same as making it to the NFL, right? Okay. And so I think within itself of having to fight for those roles, you know, trying to fit a mold and be what it is that they want you to be at that time in order to get that role. I think the biggest thing that I've had to overcome would be self-doubt, right? Mm-hmm. Did I do this right? Did I do this well enough? You know, we can be our own worst critics at times. And so I think for a lot of actors, we tend to push ourselves out. We tend to push ourselves out of roles before we even give those who are doing the casting the opportunity to push us out, right? We start casting other people. That person looks like they're going to get it, or they look better for the job, so we start pushing ourselves out. So I think, it's a mental state of being confident in who you are and what you bring to your own career is definitely a huge struggle and battle with any artist at a certain point. But then you reach that point. Once you overcome that battle, you start to become comfortable in who you are, and then that starts a different battle, right? Because then Hollywood wants you to be a certain way and wants to put you in a box, and because you now know who you are, you're unable to conform to that because you knowing that you must stay true to yourself. There's no way that you can just give over and allow them to recreate who you are because it fits their mold.
Wow, definitely. And that just leads into my next question, because you talked about being in the industry, and polarization can occur when people differ on preferences or opinions. And I know you encounter a lot of people in your industry, and there have been times where your real authentic self and their real authentic self just don't see eye to eye. So what tips can you share on how you separate yourself from those moments and not take it personally?
I think the biggest part about that is knowing what the overall goal is, right? Clearly, we want to create the best art possible. And we want to do it in a way that everybody's comfortable. And sometimes, because of those difference of opinions or values or morals, the art can still be created because, several times you hear about, film and TV actors who film together or film shows, and they're in the same show, but they just hate it working with each other, right? So in their minds, what they've done is they've created the world of just get it done, right? Get the job done first. But most importantly, you have to agree to disagree.
Right.
And you have to know your bottom line. And if you know your bottom line, then agreeing to disagree simply is going to be the best route. This is one of the conversations I have when it comes to politics, right? You have one side that's saying one thing, another side that's saying the other thing. Nobody's going to walk away from the conversation going, I changed my mind about what I was saying earlier. You were completely right. That never happens, right? Out of all the presidential and, political debates that we've ever seen, nobody's ever done that, right? It's not going to happen. So you have to fix your mind around what's the ultimate goal here. And once you realize what that goal is, being able to separate yourself in your own personal things, it helps to be able to move forward and get the work done. So, being able to do that.
So in order to do that, though, you have to come up with some sort of strategy, right? So what kind of strategy?
You
got to come up with something. You have to come up with some sort of strategy.
For me, the best thing to do, and I always have very wise people to consult before I make a decision. My manager, obviously, being one of those people, my agents, sometimes. Because sometimes we may have a difference of opinion. We may be the ones that, in that particular area around. I'll give you an example. There was a role that I was being called in for that I just said, no, I don't care what they, and I turned it down. And my agent came back a few days later and they really want to see it. No. No, I'm not going to do that because of my own personal reasons.
Right.
I don't understand. What's the problem here? What's going on? It was just a whole to do. So in that moment, I had to say, give me just 1 second. I'm going to call you right back. Give me just a second. I didn't end up calling them right back because I had to take a second because sometimes we listen to respond. Versus listening to comprehend.
Right.
So I had to take a moment to comprehend. I take a moment because I was listening, and I'm not lying to you. Originally, I was listening to be able to respond. My first thought was because I said so.
Right.
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 But I also had to listen to take a moment to step back to comprehend what they were asking and why they were so uptight about it is because, these type of opportunities for the agency doesn't come around, often like that. Right. So it's not just about Kedrick.
Right.
And so in realizing in what it is that I am and what it is that I do and the number of people that depend on me in different ways, I have to take a moment because it's my job, it's my responsibility to take that time to step back and just think, which is something that my father had always taught me, when I was younger. Even as a young man in college, he used to tell me all the time, he said, son, you're a grown man now, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. The only thing that I ask of you is that you think before you react. Right? Think before you, and I will be honest with you. That piece of advice has kept me away from a lot of trouble. It really has. And I want to give that advice to as many young men and women as I possibly can, because a lot of times, people just react.
Yes.
And in those reaction moments, your life can change.
Exactly. And we see it too often in everyday life, how people just react and catastrophic things happen. And they say, oh, I didn't think that this would happen. So that's powerful.
Take it back.
Right. That's powerful advice that your father gave you. So you are a father, right?
I am a dad, baby. I'm a dad right now. I ain't a father yet. I'm a dad right now.
How old is your daughter?
So my daughter will be 3 in January.
Oh, okay.
3 going on 33. That's why I said when you told me you had a 2-year-old, I said, oh, I know. Yes.
My 2-year-old granddaughter, since she spends so much time around adults because of COVID, she thinks she's a little adult. So you can't tell her nothing.
She got life figured out, baby. She can teach you a couple of things or two.
Exactly. Little things like I'm trying to show her how to do. Oh no, I got it. Let me show you. I'm like,
let me show you.
Right? Yeah. But being a father and having this awesome career, it means that you have a lot of constant change, right, in your life and a lot of activity. And you have to keep a positive attitude when it comes to making progress in those relationships with your family, your daughter, and even in your career. So how do you find time to self-reflect and not lose who you are at your core? How do you stay grounded?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because my daughter is one of the most consistent people in my life, right? She wants her dad time, and she wants her snacks.
Right.
So I can depend on her to be who she authentically is.
Right.
Every moment of the day. And because that's the way that it is, and the way that she looks at me, she doesn't look at me because she doesn't know. She knows who her father is. She doesn't care about any of that, right? She doesn't care. You on television in front of millions of people. She doesn't care about none of that. Dad, do you have the snacks or no?
Right.
And those type of moments for me, those reckoning moments for me, are the moments that definitely keep me grounded, because the realization that, this person loves me just genuinely and authentically because of just who I am to her. And I be having snacks, So she definitely is a instrumental part of keeping me grounded. On the other side, my mama and my sister, I have siblings too, and my mama and my sister, those are going to be the two most outspoken of everybody. They're going to keep you grounded, right?
Right.
They ain't going to let you become Mr. Hollywood. They ain't going to let that head get so big you can get to the door. My mama and my sister, but my sister more so than my mama, because my sister will be the one. I knew you win. You
right?
Yeah. See, those are the people you don't want to come after you, right? You don't want those I knew you win people to come.
Right, exactly. But how do you take care of you though? Because I know as a man, just in general, sometimes you just have so much weight on your shoulders as far as, your career, taking care of family. And a lot of it can weigh on you heavily, mentally and emotionally. How do you take care of you?
The most beautiful part about that is that I have people, which is not common, but I'm so grateful, is that I have people in my life who will allow me that time to step back and understand that I have a lot going on and I'm dealing with a lot, and they'll work with me. How can I help you, Kedrick? How can I be there for you? Even if it's just standing on the side of you and not saying anything, those people are the people that really allow me to wheel it back in and to take care of myself, right? And sometimes they have to get on me, and remind me, hey, man, you can't be running your clock like this, right? You got to take care of yourself. There are people who depend on you. You want to continue to be able to do what it is that you're doing, so let's make sure that we do it in a healthy and safe way. Just that's one of the things that I think I disagree with the most when it comes to, the whole rich people quote of, rich people never sleep.
Right. That's horrible.
I think that's terrible advice to give to somebody in the wake of trying to encourage them to become the better version of themselves, is to say, if you want to be great, then you can't sleep. And
Right.
I just think that's terrible advice. You have to keep the oil burning around the clock. And I just think that that's terrible advice, because people interpret that and they go, oh, I have to keep it burning and keep it going. And they just and they keep that hamster wheel going. And now they're working themselves to death, trying to keep that wheel moving. And they haven't taken an opportunity to really step back and take care of themselves, right? And take care of everybody else. So having those instrumental people a part of my life that allow me that time to be able to step back and take care of myself, go to therapy, get those massages, even if it's just me. I'm gonna tell you right now, you call me on Sunday, I'm sitting in front of the TV watching my Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
So don't call me on no Sunday, because I'm not going to answer, right? And I tell you, so it's setting the priorities in order, prioritizing your time and sticking to that. When I'm with my daughter, I'm with my daughter.
Right.
If you call me in business, I have to call you back.
That's awesome. That's
time
awesome. I am so glad. I'm so glad that you said that you don't agree with that. Rich people don't sleep.
Yeah.
Because you hear it so often, and I find myself kind of caught up in that a little bit as well, because I work a full-time job, and I'm I do the coaching. I coach women, and then I have to make time for my husband, my granddaughter, and all that. And I would find myself up all hours of the night, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and have to be to work my job at 6:30. And it had gotten to the point where, I was just literally exhausted. And my husband had to say, look, I don't mind you pursuing, all of these things, but you need to cut it off at a certain time. How about midnight? So yeah, it's great to have someone in your corner that's looking out for you and that won't let you push yourself to that limit. So let me ask you this now. What do you do in your spare time when you're not filming or doing your acting thing?
Oh, I am such a sucker for my daughter. So, I spend, my time with her, as much time as possible, because it's so important for fathers. We talk about how important fathers are for our boys, but being an educator, I can also see the flip side in real time of how important it is for fathers to be present in their daughters' lives as well. And, not just financially, because that's the easy part, right? Giving money is the easy part, but that time, life lessons, life experiences are things that they will forever cherish, far more than any dollar amount you could give them.
Right.
So I tend to value the time that I have with her and spend with her. But when I'm not rolling around or wrestling with her, I'm sitting in front of my TV watching them Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
There you go, them Cowboys. See, I'm not a sports fan, but my husband is, and he don't like he's with the Saints or the Steelers.
Oh yeah, I can. They hate to see us coming, baby. They hate to see a Cowboy fan coming because they know we represent all the way through and through.
Loud, just loud all the time. So wait, you said you're an educator. So tell us more about that. Tell us more about that.
I actually have been an educator for going on, 14, 15 years.
Wow.
I have worked from every grade level, from the second grade all the way through the collegiate level. Currently now I'm the theater arts director in Fort Bend at one of our middle schools in Fort Bend ISD.
Okay.
And I think it's so important that I give, because that's one of the questions my students tend to ask me, whatever school I'm at. I just saw you on TV. Like, what are you doing here, right? So I asked them, I said, you tell me, why am I here? You tell me, why am I here? Do you think I'm here for me? Because not being here, I'm still okay to do what it is that I do professionally, So it wheels them in to start thinking about, why is he really here? And I have students who figure it out and they go, you're here for us. That's exactly right.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. I think one of the most important things about being an adult, just being a human, period, is when people interact with you, they should be better.
Exactly.
Once they leave you.
Yes. Leave them with a sense of increase.
In some aspect, they should be better. No matter what, it can vary in what ways, and but they should be better than they were yesterday when they leave your presence. And so all of the students that I encounter, which is, one of the, being an educator is one of the largest outreach programs that we have in existence, right? Yeah. Because on a daily basis, I interact with 312 kids on a daily basis. Wow. Just in my immediate, in front of me, have conversation with and encourage and have influence over, right? And then you look at the masses that walk through the hallway who stop and talk to me, right? And so, I think it's just extremely important, and I love it. I love to do it because watching them grow and glow, from what they learn in my course is extremely rewarding for me.
So, what do you teach?
Theater arts. I'm a theater arts director.
Should have known. And I think it's awesome that you're an educator, because it not only sets a good example for the kids of, work ethic and all of that, but it gives them, how like a lot of times when they say, I see you on TV. When you're a child and you see someone on television, you think, oh my gosh, they're larger than life, right? But to have you there on a daily basis and for them to be able to put their hands on you lets them know that
I dap them up and give them elbow because of COVID now, because COVID will take over. So I don't slap hands. All right, give me some elbow.
Right? But I mean, they see that you're human. They see that you live and breathe just like them, and I'm pretty sure you may inspire them to say, "Hey, well, I can do that too." Right?
And that's my objective. That's my ultimate goal.
That's awesome.
I think it's extremely important to encourage them because they're so influential at that age.
Right.
And one of the things that I try to teach them is that those who say they can and those who say they can't are both usually right.
Exactly.
Okay? So I think it's important to start there because the kids are that's who's leading tomorrow. Right. So
yes, it's all about creating that positive mindset very early, like you said, because if they say they can't, because they're gonna believe that and internalize it, and they're gonna make that come into fruition. They're gonna be a product of their circumstances.
Right. There you go.
Right. Okay. So here's a fun question for you. If there was a theme song that played every time you walked into the room, what would it be?
If there was a theme song that played every time I walked into the room, what would it be? Let me think. What would that theme song be?
I just knew you would have one like that.
There's so many that goes through my head, and I change moods so often, baby. I think James Brown,
Mhm.
get up off of that thing.
Okay. All
Because
right.
because I when you listen to the actual words, and I know some people be confused about what James say, and sometimes
Right.
I don't know what James be saying, but when James say, "Get up off of that thing and dance until you feel better,"
Mhm.
right? For me, that means something. Let's not just sit around and wait for something to happen. Let's
Mhm.
get up and be proactive. Let's
Mhm.
move,
Mhm.
right? Let's make something happen. And I
Right.
think so often people get so complacent and they get in a place where they feel like, oh, it's just gonna spontaneously happen to me. And that's not how life works,
Mm-mm.
right? So you have to, and I think we're in that age now where, our young people are getting so lazy.
Ugh, don't I
Yeah.
know it?
So, when James say, get up off of that thing,
Mhm.
that's what for me,
Mhm.
let's get up. Let's be proactive. Let's move. Let's get into it, man. Right?
Yes.
Moving, grooving.
Exactly, exactly. You be the captain of your own ship,
There you go.
make your own destiny. And when you say young kids are lazy, yes, I have three that are 26, 21, and 23. And,
Right.
it's really crazy. They're out in the world doing their own thing now. They're all on their own. But
Mhm.
something as simple as phone calls, they don't do. Everything is always the phone and texting. We could
Mhm.
be in the same room and I'll say, well, ask your sister. They'll send a text.
The
Why?
microwave world.
Yes, microwave society. Mm.
So they want
All
to
right,
try to get
so
now.
yes. Tell us, what is there anything that you're working on right now? Something that we need to be on the lookout for?
Yes. So if you're not familiar with the game, the reboot is here.
Okay.
And it's on Paramount Plus, and I have been so fortunate to be able to join the cast this season.
Another one
Uh,
of my favorite shows.
so you'll definitely be seeing me in the upcoming weeks on the game.
Okay.
Everything in production, as far as the industry is shutting down because of the holidays
Right.
now,
Right.
but I will be picking back up pretty soon, hopefully. And so this season, I'm on this season, so I'm extremely proud about that. Ava DuVernay season 2 of Cherish the Day will be coming to OWN in
Mhm.
2022,
Okay.
and I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that
Okay.
cast as well. So I'm extremely proud to be joining back with the OWN team. As you know, Greenleaf was
Right.
the
Right.
first
And
show.
I enjoyed Cherish the Day too. I watched all of that. So
Okay with it. So yeah. So we'll
I'll be
be
seeing
rocking
you
it out.
in that too.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, I know you have a website, so if you want to give people the website so that they can look you up and kind of keep going and following you and your,
Most
your social
definitely.
media handles, all that stuff.
So KedrickBrown.com. So it's my first and last name, KEDRICK, Brown like the color, like your beautiful brown
Thank you.
skin.com. And all of my social media handles are the same at the Kedrick Brown.
Okay.
So we can keep it real simple for the people. So follow me, send me a message. I have an area on my website where you can send me a message and it'll come straight to my email. Just because sometimes people have, aspiring questions. They want to know, how do I
Exactly.
get started in the industry? How did you get started?
Right.
Which is important, especially because I started when I was the same age as my the kids that I teach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And I
in
just
middle school.
love that you're so approachable because, like I said, we met you after the play, and then I reached out to you. I slid into your DMs. Said, would you like to be on my podcast? And you were like, sure. And I was like, okay. So,
Was that easy?
well, you know what they say, you won't know unless you ask, right?
Right. And that's
So
one of the things that I tell people all the time. You have not because
exactly, you
yeah,
ask.
you ask not. So I tell them all the time, most definitely. And I've had people say some because they go, oh, they in their mind. I don't know what idea of me they've built in their heads, but they go, man, I'm sitting here, we just talking, and you're like a real person. Like, yeah. But again, it's those people in my life that allow me to be a real human.
Mhm.
Um, that really keeps me grounded and
All
keeps me
right.
motivated to just be you, be me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, I will have the links to Kedrick's information in the description of the podcast episode. And I just want to thank you again so much for taking this time to talk to me and hang out on the Polish Mirror podcast. So until next time, everyone, we will be talking to you later. Bye. Thank you so very much for listening to the Polish Your Mirror podcast. Please subscribe and share. You can join our community by visiting Ladies Circle of Success on Facebook. I'm your host, Selena Barnes, and as always, remember to keep your mirror polished because no one can do it better than you.